Morning, all. All right, so we got 5 games tonight in the NHL. 2 of them starting at 7 Eastern, and then we've got, of course, one 7:30 start, 10:30 Eastern start on the West Coast. But that should be a fun one as well. So we start off tonight with Ottawa and Pittsburgh. I'm wearing a Penguins jersey. I think they've got a good chance tonight because they've got pressure from right below the playoff line from the Florida Panthers, who are also playing tonight. Fun time of year. So these teams have split the season series thus far. Ottawa won the first matchup 5-4 in overtime on January 18th. On January 20th, Pittsburgh wins 4-1. Ottawa is currently 33-31-5 over their last 10 games. They're 4-5-1. They're 7 points behind the Penguins. So they're not out of it, but they are in a position where there's a lot of teams between them and the playoffs at this point, and they're trending in the wrong direction. They're 2 points ahead of Detroit currently in the standings. Tkachuk, 30 goals, 41 assists, 71 points, has had a remarkable season. Sanderson, and I'll keep mentioning Jake Sanderson, 4 goals, 24 assists, 28 points. I like Jake Sanderson's game a lot. I don't think he gets talked about as much as a lot of the other young players in the NHL. So there he is. On the Pittsburgh side, they're 34-25-10. Their last 10 games, they're 5-4-1. They're 2 points behind the New York Islanders, who have the number one wildcard spot. But of course, they have a couple games in hand. They're playing one of those tonight. They are 1 point ahead of Florida. And Jake Gensel, 30 goals, 32 assists, 62 points, has had a remarkable season. Carter, remarkable in the other direction. 9 goals, 15 assists, 24 points. Carter winding down his career, and I've seen a lot of conversations about Carter from Pens fans, not all of it flattering. I will say, Carter's due for a couple of goals here and there. We'll see if he gets that tonight. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Florida in against the Detroit Red Wings. So Florida has absolutely picked up their game. Detroit has fallen off recently. That was kind of how things looked like they were trending, though, at the trade deadline. Florida stood pat. Florida is a team that's beaten Detroit twice this year. They're looking for the sweep. They won 5-1 on December 8th and 3-2 on January 6th. For Florida, they're 35-27-7. Their last 10 games, they're 7-2-1. They are 1 point behind the Pittsburgh Penguins in the standings, as stated. They are 4 points clear of Washington. So really at this point, it's Florida who sits below the playoff line as a threat to those teams above the line, and that's basically it. The other teams below the line in the East are highly unlikely to go on any kind of a run to get into the playoffs. Sam Reinhart, 26 goals, 25 assists, 51 points. He's had an up and down season, but 26 goals, that's solid. Ekblad, one of the more underrated defensemen in the NHL, even still. 12 goals, 18 assists, 30 points for Ekblad. On the Detroit side, they're 30-29-9. Their last 10 games, they're 2-7-1. As said, they're trending in the wrong direction, but that's what happens when you sell at the deadline. They're 9 points behind the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're 7 points ahead of the Philadelphia Flyers. So there is the potential that they fall back far enough to fall below the Flyers, but either way, imagine if Detroit won the draft lottery this year, right? 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Colorado Avalanche renew their acquaintances. Now, Colorado's won the first 2 meetings. On October 12th, it was a 5-2 win, and on January 12th, it was a 3-2 win. For Chicago, they're 24-39-6. They've done a decent job of playing spoiler. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. They're 27 points out of the playoffs. So Winnipeg does not have to worry about them. They are 2 points ahead of San Jose. So they are still within reach of potentially falling further down in the standings. Seth Jones, his contract, we all know about his contract. We'll probably be talking about what Chicago's plans are with players like Jones probably as soon as this summer. 10 goals, 21 assists, 31 points. Tyler Johnson, still in the league, still playing, and I think he's played well enough for Chicago this year. 8 goals, 17 assists, 25 points. On the Colorado side, they are 40-22-6. They're 6-3-1. They've won 5 in a row, which means they were 1-3-1 before that 5-game winning streak. Now, they're 2 points behind Minnesota after the Wild's win yesterday, so they're trying to keep pace. And they're 5 points clear of Winnipeg, who have been just stalled recently. Evan Rodriguez, 14 goals, 19 assists, 33 points. He's done a little bit of everything for Colorado this season. Cale Makar, still for my money, probably the best defenseman in the NHL. 16 goals, 45 assists, 61 points. He is having a phenomenal season once again. And so I would not be surprised to see Makar put up a few points tonight as well. He's been hot lately. 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, we have San Jose and the Oilers. This is the second of 4 meetings. There's the No Mercy magnet the Ranger fans didn't get last night. Apologies for that. 7-1 win for the Oilers on January 13th. And the third and fourth meetings will be April the 8th and April the 13th. So this works out pretty well for the Oilers, because if they can handle San Jose for those 3 games, well, that's 6 points. And that puts them in a better position. For San Jose, they're 1-7-2 over their last 10. It's been a tough go lately. They're 29 points behind the Winnipeg Jets, and they're 3 points ahead of Columbus in the standings. Couture, 24 goals, 35 assists, 59 points. Good season for him. Hurdle, not as much, at least in my opinion. 19 goals, 36 assists, 55 points. I just think it's odd that when the rumor came out that Hurdle was the one guy that they wouldn't move in under any circumstances, I didn't think that. I don't know. I guess we'll see in subsequent years whether or not Hurdle emerges as the absolute best player on the team. On the Oilers side, they're 7-3 in their last 10 to get to 39, 33, and 8. They are 4 points behind the LA Kings for second in the division, and they're 3 points ahead of Seattle. So with a win tonight, obviously Seattle having the night off, they'd move 5 points up. Draisaitl, 44 goals, 60 assists, 104 points. Yeah, he's pretty good. There's not really a whole lot else to be said with Draisaitl other than 104 points already. We may have multiple players over that 120-point mark. Obviously, we already have McDavid there, but both Draisaitl and Kucherov could get to 120 points this season. Kostin, 10 goals, 9 assists, 19 points. I haven't seen his name on the score sheet lately, so throwing his name up there, hoping that he maybe gets a goal tonight. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific start between the Calgary Flames and the LA Kings. They've split the first 2 meetings this season. 6-5 for Calgary on November 14th. December 22nd, it was a 4-3 overtime win for LA. The fourth and final meeting between these teams will be on March the 28th. For Calgary, they're 31, 24, and 15. Man, that 15. So they're 4-3-3 in their last 10, so you have 2 ways of looking at it. You can either say, well, they've lost 3 in regulation of their last 10, or they've only won 4 of their last 10. Either way, they're 4 points behind Winnipeg. They're 1 point ahead of Nashville, who did not play well last night. And so there's an opening. There's an opening there for the Flames should they choose to take it. Backlund, 17 goals, 29 assists, 46 points. You always get a good, hard-working game from Michael Backlund. Kadri, 21 goals, 28 assists, 49 points. I've mentioned this before, but he had that really, really good start to the season and hasn't really quite been the same since. On the LA side, 40, 20, and 10. Very even record there. All zeros at the end, all nice and clean. Their last 10 games are 7-1-2. LA's playing very, very well. They're 2 points behind Vegas for first in the division. They're 4 points ahead of Edmonton. Arvidsson's been good lately himself. 19 goals, 27 assists, 46 points. So he's right on the verge of 20 goals. And I'm going to keep talking about how well Quentin Byfield's been playing for them lately, too. 3 goals, 16 assists, 19 points. Byfield, again, people get stuck on goals and points with top draft picks, which I understand, but that doesn't tell the whole story. And with Byfield, I definitely think it doesn't tell the whole story with him either. I think he's going to have a very strong season next year, and we'll see the scoring next year is my guess. But let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, as always, including your winners. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.